This conference will now be recorded.
Well, hello and welcome to the Let's Talk Business Show. This is with JoAnn Forrester, also known as the Empress of Biz. And of course, the Empress has to have a Duke. So this is Sal Acosta, the Duke of Business. And besides, he's the Duke of Business. He's technically brilliant. And that's why that's why Sal and I have hooked up together. One of the things that this past year has been a major challenge to many of us from many different ways. But small business has really been put to the test. And unfortunately, a number of small businesses have gone out of business. So in our effort to highlight small business and help them stay in business, we decided to start inviting people who we know are toughing it out, who are finding ways to make a difference and stay in business. And one of the people that I know and admire and just absolutely love their food and their place, I've got to admit, is Cathy Kentzel and the Barnard House. The Barnard House is owned by Cathy and Paul Kentzel, and they have an amazing background that they bring to being proprietors of the Barnard House, which is a B&B in Emlenton, Pennsylvania. Cathy and Paul, you've been owners how many years now?
7. It seems longer, but yeah, we're going into our 8th year or season of business coming up. The seasons usually starts, we're open year round, but May will be our 8th season this year.
And you come from a background, a varied background, that you brought all the skills that both you and Paul have and put that into this, the Barnard House. And would you like to give us a little background?
Well, as you get older, you definitely acquire a lot of diverse talents. And Paul and I have been together since we were kids. And we grew up in a second home along the Allegheny, but raised our kids in Pittsburgh for about 28 years. And during that time as a homemaker, I acquired skills and became a professional gardener. My husband has had a business in historical renovations that focused in the Mexican War streets and Beach Avenue for about 45 years. And then, as life has it, we kind of stumbled upon a position as estate managers in Swickley Heights, Pennsylvania, where we resurrected Wilpon Hall, which is the last industrial revolutionist cottage in Pittsburgh. So we were there for shy of a decade and acquired even more skills. And that ended suddenly. And we found ourselves spiraling. And as sometimes life surprises would have it, I found the home of the Barnard House on a video. And we started to write a business plan and play around just in my head. But we just made a really abrupt life decision that took a lot of courage and gave me this gray hair. And we picked everything up and moved our family to Emlenton, which is just about an hour and 25 minutes outside of Pittsburgh.
Hey, Cathy, let me ask you a quick question, because I know a lot of people that have a high pressure corporate job and maybe have some nice IRAs and whatever, at some point think that owning a business like yours or a bed and breakfast or something might be a nice sort of retirement job or semi-retirement job or transition into retirement. So my question is, do you think that's a good idea for somebody, again, with a high pressure corporate job, to use that as a transition stone into retirement or semi-retirement? And could you maybe say one thing that you've discovered that you didn't know that was completely different from what you thought originally going into it, that maybe could even serve maybe as a positive or a warning for somebody?
I think it's like anything in life. If you plan to have children, you look at what those responsibilities, what the financial burden, to make a jump decision without having the ability to do the research is high risk. Small business, especially now in anywhere in America, is a more riskier route. I can tell you that, like anything, you never know all the ins and outs until you're knee deep. If you're a person that can diversify and kind of rebalance quickly, and for me, it takes a good partner. I couldn't have done this solely on my own. I couldn't have done it without the support of my children and family. I can tell you that I believe it saved my marriage, because we were at a high stress job, and economics always plays into relationships. For me as an individual, it kind of took all of the talents that I had acquired in my life, some even before I was employed, because I was a homemaker for many, many years, and kind of put them all in one basket. And then going forward, I've had to adapt, readapt, learn skills that I never, ever thought that I would have to as the owner of a bed and breakfast. And when you quit questioning yourself, am I doing it right? Am I doing it not? You're in a danger area, because you need to every day kind of like sit back and assess. And I don't want to make that sound overwhelming. It isn't high pressure, but I kind of use the analogy of parenting. When you're not questioning if you're doing the right thing and enough for your children, then you're not being a good parent. So it's the same in small business. And honestly, I'm ready to redo a business plan. It's been because I actually think that we are above and beyond what we had originally intended. And I feel strong enough to say that we feel that we're some of the best lodging experiences in Pennsylvania.
I agree. I really do. Sal, would you start to play the pictures and that? So what we're going to do, folks, this is new for us, is that we are, as we talk, we're going to be showing some of the great sites of the Barnard House. And actually, they've expanded so that you have two properties together, right, Cathy?
Yes, we sit right on the Allegheny River. We're really fortunate. So we have 4 lots and 2 homes. The Barnard House functions exclusively as a bed and breakfast, and the Wilson home, which is our next door neighbor, functions exclusively as a vacation home. So with the combined homes, if we have a group come in, we can adapt that. I have a chef that I work with in town. If me and Paul feel that we can't be adequate in meeting those folks' needs, Dawn aids us as well. But pretty much it's totally family-oriented business. We have 5 children that jump in from time to time, but Paul and I are year-round the 2 go-tos.
Yeah, what we're showing is a slideshow of both properties. And the Wilson House is just someone rents it as a total vacation home for their family or organization or something like that, right, Cathy?
Yes. It's a more simplified home. It is a Craftsman 4-square, and when we renovated it, we gave it all the amenities that a family or a group would need to be able to relax and enjoy all the amenities that surround them, and then come back to this space and hunker down for the day or afternoon. after those. And we're open year round, so we will get travelers or folks. I had an electrical contractor last evening that was traveling across states, but it's a unique combination. We really focus in recreation, so the most that we've had, both homes can sleep 18 persons, and we don't go over that because we want to exceed in our quality.
Hey, Cathy, let me ask you a question. Because you deal with, and I'll call it more or less generically, the general public. And so maybe you have, like you said, you have 18 people there, so maybe different families, different persons, different whatever. Sometimes they'll come in with crazy expectations, or they'll bring in, some personal situations, whatever. So what has been the most interesting situation you've been involved with, or the craziest person that their group of people that you had at your place?
Okay.
Yeah, it might be JoAnn. No, it's interesting. So our website, prior to folks coming in, is designed to share a lot of information to aid them in planning, and then we offer ourselves as well to be able to assist them. We're experts, we're ambassadors of this area, and how we present ourselves and how we receive folks is as important as their stay. So prior to them coming, they can educate themselves on our website, and then we will try to communicate with them directly at some point prior to their arrival. We don't reside at the B&B, so it's important for us to have insight into their personal needs prior, whether it's dietary restrictions, or especially during the situation we're in with COVID, if you're immune compromised, etc. And we try to exceed those expectations, and I'm very confident that we do so. So upon arrival, they're educated, we're educated, we come together and greet them. We share with them, take them on a short tour. We're in a historical area, so we're sharing tidbits about that. We're receiving information upon greeting them, answering questions, adapting our needs to meet them. And then going forward, they have the ability to contact me. I live 3 blocks away at any time, and we can alter that. If they get here and there's something else that they might need in my absence, we meet that need as well. Within, obviously, I'm not the Queen of England, but and on the best part. Pardon me?
I wanted to ask you, you have to have people from all over the United States and the world. Would you talk about some of the people that countries have visited you and stuff like that?
Yeah, well, we're on the Erie to Pittsburgh bike trail, so that brings in a lot of folks. The economy is being stimulated. Emlenton is a trail town, so it's being reinvented. That's what our business plan primarily focused around in the beginning. So we, over the course of 8 years, we've had France. Liberia is the furthest that we've seen so far. But that's the best part of being an innkeeper, because we have a constant flux of cultural folks that come into us. Probably the highlight was the ambassador of Bangladesh and his wife that were ending their tenure in New York City and DC, and they stopped on their way to visit family. That was a lasting impression. They actually, people are such genuine and so genuine and sincere. They actually sent us a gift weeks later with 7 products that would be made in Bangladesh. Because what's really neat in a bed and breakfast is a lot of the demographics kind of fall away, especially if there's multiple persons here, and they kind of absorb each other's differences. We've never seen anything negative occur. It's amazing how humans can coexist when we come into a neutral zone.
Right.
And the folks that the professions that we've met over the course of 8 years, folks that are scientists and doctors. I have a surgeon, and when he comes through on his annual treat, him and his wife bring their knives and they prepare breakfast with us while they chat. So like you, JoAnn, you come in as a stranger, and during the course of your visit, we kind of read what your needs are. If you want isolation, we give you that. If you want to converse and engage with not only myself, but the others, we are conduits for that. And usually by the time you leave, whether it is one day or multiple, we kind of have a good sense if you're going to be a returning guest, and if you have enjoyed, and what we could hone in on, like what did you enjoy as a person, so the next time coming back we can elevate that experience.
Hey, Cathy, let me ask you, because you mentioned something that you're near the bike trail, and I saw that in some of your pictures. You have people doing cycling, and that was something that I was very passionate about at one point in my life. So my question is, do you do anything special for the cyclist? And by that, I mean, I don't know if you do, but maybe some suggestions would be to keep like spare tubes around, or lube, or some minimal tools, because let's face it, anytime you're out with a bike, that in itself is an adventure. So you do anything special for the people that ride bikes?
Absolutely. We focus on all things local, and recreation is this valley's most prominent economy. Prior to them coming on our website, there is maps of the trail and links that we suggest that they can educate themselves. They have the ability to ask me questions prior, but we keep bike pumps and tools on site. My husband sits on the board of the Trail Association, so he has a direct link to knowledge that could benefit them. We have maps on site. We discuss special spots on the trail that they could actually take their bike and walk to. There's waterfalls and historic sites. If I know that there's an area of interest for birding, or maybe taking a dip in the river in a special spot, again, you adapt that information to meet the needs of that individual. Some people are, okay, I'm going to go 7 miles. We'll actually, they have our cell number, so that if a situation should arise and they're in an area, they can phone us and we can go to greet them, or if they're in a situation, obviously, that we can't assist them, we can get the help to them, or make suggestions for them. But the trail has become a huge impetus for this area and Pennsylvania at large. We have more adaptation from rails to trails than any state in the United States of America currently.
Cathy, you have a hot tub area, right?
Yeah. Well, again, if you come in from recreating for the day, not all of us are in top-notch shape. Maybe you have some aches and pains. A hot tub's a great way, either in the morning to get you going, or in the evening to ease down your day. So we've adapted our amenities to meet those needs. If you're a cyclist, you want a high-protein diet. So we gear, if you're coming in, we'll make sure that we pack your breakfast with good foods that will aid you in your day. And it's always interesting to see the different perspectives that folks have. When you come back and you share something with me that possibly I didn't know, I'm gaining more information as well from those users.
Yeah. And you know what? You're absolutely right. I'll just say this real quick, because people think about bicycle riding or cycling, whatever you want to call it, as this sort of monolithic thing. But first of all, you got the people that like to go on the road. Then got the people that like to go off road or mountain biking or whatever. But to your point, you'll have people that think a bike ride is 7 miles, whatever, 10 miles an hour, and that's fine. And then you have people that think a bike ride is 100 miles at 20 or 25 miles an hour. And those two types of individuals, they're both bike riding, but it's a very different sort of experience and a very different set of needs.
Absolutely. We have folks that I jokingly say we have porch sitters. So there's folks that just come here not necessarily to engage in recreation. They grab a porch seat or a place in the garden, a good book, put their feet up. We have folks that do the entire length of the trail that's completed at just shy of 60 miles in one day and back. We have hikers. We're on the North Country Trail, follows part of the Erie to Pittsburgh Trail as well. So we have through hikers. I can guide you to state forest and other areas here. We have kayakers and fishermen and just travelers that had not expected to want to enjoy those amenities, but once they're here and that they see what's before them, they partake in some form of recreation as well.
Cathy, I want to ask you, because we all know that this year has put a test to most people. And I know that from our conversation that the first 3 months of the year were, a shock, so to speak, from March on. But then you said, your people start going outdoors. And what happened for your business?
Well, Pennsylvania at large seen an uptick in recreation. Some folks are saying over 400%. So the beginning of COVID was a really scary time. And if it hadn't been for my husband's business, I don't know if my outcome would have been the same, because Paul has a small side business that kind of fueled us during those 3 months. And then we seen an uptick, as you called it, in folks wanting to get out, even if it was, just from Pittsburgh, an hour and a half. Usually folks come here at a longer distance, but we started to see folks that were close to our area just wanting to get out for an overnight visit or more to clear their minds and be outside, because being outside is the safest place for us during this pandemic. And we started to address that and meet those needs and readapt as a small business and comply with cleaning methods and readapting how we would seat people for breakfasts. We would split breakfast time for social distancing, and of course require masks in our cleaning, in our common areas. Food prep became a whole different experience, in that we began to really make sure that we were exceeding Pennsylvania's guidelines, wearing gloves and masks, and making sure that the areas where we were prepping food were cleaned prior to and after. And just addressing those individual needs. If you came in and maybe you were immune compromised, we would adapt to that so that you'd feel safe. This has to be a safe haven for everyone, and everyone has different needs, so you're constantly adapting to meet those.
You said something about networking was a big important part of helping you succeed. Would you mention that, please?
It's a dire necessity. I'm in a very rural valley. Emlenton has about 650 people, give or take a few. So yes, we have small businesses, grocery stores, things like that here. But as a small business owner in this valley, especially how we showcase ourselves, we are all things local, and I'm an ambassador. So I want to share with my guests what is available to them in like a 25-mile radius or more. So from the minute they can't come in, they are experiencing all those entrepreneurs, all those passionate people, just like Paul and myself, that have chosen to be small business owners or possibly are aspiring to be small business owners. So we're kind of an incubator. We give folks the opportunity to share their passions. And so the networking, or as I like to call it, the cross-pollination of these small businesses are imperative in an area. For me to market just my business individually can be a very time-consuming and expensive prospect. And I'll use the example tomorrow. I'm meeting with a young couple that has a CBD farm on the Ridge, Penn's Choice. And I contacted them and brought them to my home and said, look, it's obviously beneficial for us during these times if we cross-pollinate and share. So they're coming in and they're doing a photo shoot and a small video showcasing their product in my home. So we're exchanging in that, and then we'll both use that information going forward, and possibly I'll share some of their products with my guests, or we'll combine our talents, and when we do small events, that we kind of collect all of these entrepreneurs and share those in the small events as well. It gives me an opportunity to learn and adapt my business, to see how that other business owner has adapted in this area. I literally have gained a whole different perspective in our business in the last 7 years, because you're immersed as our guest in those people's passions. Our breakfast becomes a story time. You sit down and I'm sharing with you those person's backgrounds and how they came to make this bread and roast this coffee, and the woman that gathered these eggs, and I grew these vegetables. And so it's an education for those guests, as well as those small businesses that are participating in our day-to-day business, as well as in our future endeavors.
Hey, Cathy, I'm going to ask you for a little bit of a sneak preview, maybe, and an exclusive on this question. But have you thought, or do you have any ideas, plans, things you'd like to do in the future that are on hold right now because it wouldn't be practical to do with the coronavirus, but that you sort of have in your head and say, hey, you know what? As soon as this situation gets normalized, it'll be really great to do this. Do you have any ideas like that?
Too many. My husband goes crazy because I'm constantly in the winter months. Most seasonal businesses like ours, this is when you do all your planning. It's kind of like the analogy of the cookie jar on the counter. All the cookies are in the jar. Do you open the cookie jar and start to plan and share dates with your consumers? Or do you leave that cookie jar closed and just add cookies? So, you know, with us, when we look ahead and what we've learned, because COVID's taught us a lot, even though it's been a bittersweet pill, it's taught us a lot about perseverance and adaptation. So going forward, a bed and breakfast in Pennsylvania provides breakfast, and outside of that you have to have an inspected kitchen. I don't want to have the kitchen within my home inspected because it would impede my guest comfort level and my ability to share the preparation of breakfast with my guest. We're in constant view of them. So we're engaging in conversation while we're cooking and preparing the meals. So we've come up with the concept of an outdoor summer kitchen. So there is a garden shed where we have an outdoor restroom in one half of it, and the other half we have began prior to COVID plumbing it and putting the electric in for this summer kitchen. It's going to cost me about $5,000 to outfit that kitchen. I'm trying, it's a real dilemma for me right now to say, do I put the money into that right now, or do I hold off and wait? Because if I wait, then I'm not going to be prepared for that influx. And I can work behind scenes with these businesses, like the folks that will come tomorrow, and possibly and the chef that I use. We do retreats. Being outside is probably the best case scenario. Our home doesn't have gathering spots interior for a larger gathering. We have an outdoor patio that can serve 25 persons quite comfortably and aesthetically. We try not to go over that number, because then your quality and our presentation isn't the same as we would like. So we have a Mother's Day tea that we do on an annual basis that probably won't take place this year for the second year. And that's really just, it's because there's 15 businesses that come together for that or more. So then I look to the outdoors. Can I effectively, with the quality, if COVID continues, can I create an experience that provides people the security of knowing that they have not been put in jeopardy with their health and or others' health? And can I keep that level of quality that I have had in the past? And we did do one small event during COVID, and it was quite wonderful. We call them river journeys because we like to expand on it and make it better or bring in different businesses. And that went well, and we were able to social distance, but you know, perception is everything. So you have to be really careful that you're not creating something or doing something as people are watching from afar and saying, I don't know if they should be doing that right now. You know, it's a really charged area. And so I'm finding myself kind of taking 2 steps forward and 1 step back. And it's really important to look at all of the avenues that are presented to you prior to.
Yeah. I love your grounds. I've been there, and I see that the grounds have even expanded more. So we've been talking over 35 minutes. What's the best way, well, no, let me rephrase that. Excuse me. What's the best way to book with you?
Our website is the best way, because you're an educated consumer before. Of course, I can aid you over the phone and aid you in that process. But we have a highly secure website that has been designed exclusively for bed and breakfast and inns by another woman business, Innkeeper's Advantage. And that website is so secure that all your financial information remains scrambled to me. And it's constantly being updated by professionals. So our website is thebarnardhouse.com, and it'll take you in and share tidbits about the region and the trail, and then have photographs, and it's really easy to navigate. That was really important for me, because not everyone's tech savvy. And so I wanted to have a site that was easily to navigate and could educate you in the process as a consumer.
And we'll put a link to your website in the description of the YouTube video. So if there's anybody, by the way, that's just listening to this on audio and maybe not watching, if you need the website, just look at the description and the YouTube video, and we'll put that in there for you.
Great, thank you.
Yeah, that was a beautiful presentation, Cathy. Can you guys hear me?
Yeah.
Okay, because I got a warning here. Lord knows what I've done.
That's why we keep the website simple.
Yeah. Okay. Sal, any last minute questions for Cathy?
No, I would just like to compliment you on the beautiful place that you have. We've been showing the pictures as we've been speaking. Maybe the only last thing, and I think you said it, but I think it bears repeating for people like me that can get lost in their backyard without a GPS. Can you tell people maybe relative to Pittsburgh and Erie and some of the major highways, just more or less where you are so they have an idea, and then of course they can use their GPS when they actually want to go there?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, the town of Emlenton, where we're located in the most southern, we're the southern end of Emlenton, is just off of Interstate 80. There are 2 exits on I-80 for the town of Emlenton. We're down in the valley. You know, when you cross I-80 and you look down at the Allegheny River, we're that small rural town tucked on the one side of the valley. It is the valley that changed the world. We're a National Historic Heritage Area and a Wild and Scenic Corridor. So there's multiple levels of beauty here. We're surrounded by forests. So it's an easy travel from Pittsburgh. It's just shy of an hour and a half. My husband jokingly says 1 traffic light to get here. And we're in a really good location in that Cleveland is 2 hours out. Erie is just shy of 2 hours. And there's lots of back roads that if you GPS, if you don't want to come down I-80, you can actually reach us via rural route as well.
Excellent. Well, thank you very much.
You're welcome. It was a pleasure talking to you and JoAnn this morning.
Oh, it's good seeing you, Cathy. And I can see you've added a lot of things since I've been up there. And I can see your artistic talents. And I just want to invite people, first of all, to keep, if you're in small business, there's always a way you can get around it. Cathy and Paul Kentzel are certainly an example of someone who has taken their talents and their energies, and they're making it. And also, plan a vacation, folks. Oh, I see. We got a guest.
Oh, yeah.
And we hope to have, we're going to be doing something special. Sal and I, we're going to be doing a series on stress reduction for small business owners. And that's one way you can reduce your stress is have a cat and pet it. And watch for more. And I'll be speaking. When will I be speaking, Sal?
On February, actually, let me look it up to give you the exact information, but it will be on Monday, February the 8th at 2 p.m. Eastern Time.
Yeah.
Great.
Yeah, so that'll be my, I've taught stress management for years. We kind of took a break, but now with this situation going on, I thought we could use the technology and share our information. We want to thank everyone. Keep safe, be prosperous, and thank you for your time, Cathy. I can't wait to see you.
Thank you. Best wishes for the new year.
Thank you, Cathy, and thank you, JoAnn.
It was a pleasure. Have a great day.
You too, my friend.